Evento final de Fortnite. No, el evento de cosas, de fiesta. Y va a comenzar en 2 segundos ya. ¿Estarán conmigo en el directo? ¿Sí o no? ¿Sí o no estarán en el directo? Si no están, pues me vale verga, mi o sea. Voy a subir este video a las 2 por ella. Y voy a subir este video a las 2. Y si quieren más directos como este, pues denle like, suscríbete y activa la campanita para no perderte ninguno de mis videos. Claramente, si vas a mi canal y todo eso, estará todo el link de todos sus canales y su Twitch. Pues comenzamos. Vamos a calmar porque ya va a comenzar el evento en solo 2 segundos. Hay que esperar por el evento. Vale, gente, si llegamos a los 10.000 likes en este video, en este directo, y lo que voy a hacer es algo que mi la te acabo de cortar ese, ¿vale? Cortar. ¡Hola, 5 segundos! ¡Ah! Estamos a punto de ver el evento de fiesta magistral en Directo. Like. ¿Qué? ¡Estamos a punto de ser hijos de puta! Ya era Jimé. ¡Ah! ¡Ah! Estamos dos. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. ¿Qué? ¿Qué carajo? ¿Qué pasó?
The badge is better than having some heart. Okay, look now, look how they running. They beating white people down just to show us we coming, or to show us we nothing, or to show us we only welcome when singing or balling. You shut up and dribble.
Hey everybody, I'm Carrie Chan.
¿Qué pedo es? ¿Qué basura, pico? Esto es.
Athletes and artists who want to make sure that you use your voice to vote. Voting is your voice. So we have so many different issues that have happened in this country. It's really truly unprecedented time. So I'm looking forward to these conversations. I think we'll be educated as well as entertained, most importantly informed. We have morethanvote.org, weallvote.org, and fairfight.com. Those resources are imperative as we try to change our future.
Yeah,
there's no way that we can talk about hip-hop, or even the fact that we want to talk about activism, black voter suppression, without bringing in this guy straight from Texas. We were talking about Bumby. He is an activist, a scholar, and an all-around gentleman. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Fun. I don't want to start heavy, but I guess I have to because
creo que estamos en directo y estoy viendo por mi celular. Voy a escanear todo el video.
Equality. That's pretty much the first thing that comes to mind, right? Black people need to be seen as equals in this world. You know, we had to fight
No voy a poner este video.
in this country and not 3/5.
voters now see what we've known for so long in the culture and in the community. one way that we can fight is obviously voting. Talk to me about what voting means to you.
I hear people all the time talk about one vote doesn't matter and that voting doesn't make a difference. If that's true, why do they work so hard to suppress the black vote? Because they understand the power of the vote. And so it's time that black people collectively also understand the power of their vote. Not just on the national level, because a lot of times every 4 years. People need to be very much involved.
Si está viendo mi directo, por favor. No.
Where they stand on issues that affect you. You need to use your vote to either support the ones that care about you and your condition, or to elect people who do. A newer initiative that we're dealing with is educating felons, right? So in the state of Texas, if you're a felon, right, if you've been to jail or to prison, but you're no longer on probation or parole, you have the right to register to vote. Another thing that was just brought to my attention is an initiative called Orange, which is happening not just in Houston, but all over the country. If you're in jail currently during pre-trial, but you have not been convicted, like you're still in jail waiting for your day in court, you are still eligible to vote.
And you said something so key. They work so hard to hope that we stay uninformed, and importantly, to suppress the black vote. If you could do one thing with this message that we're trying to send today about how important voting is, what type of images would you like for people to understand and see when they go to these polls and vote, or when they cast their ballots?
I think the images that we've all seen, you know what I'm saying, for decades in this country, if not centuries in this country, we've seen black people oppressed, we've seen black people attacked. So every time you look back and you see those old black and white images of people of color being attacked by dogs and people of color being sprayed with hoses, that's what they were fighting for. Back then, they were just fighting for a chance to vote. People like Martin Luther King Jr., people like Malcolm X, these people died to help us be in a position to have the power that we have now, which is to be able to cast a vote and make a decision about the people that have control over our lives. So, I mean, if you in your own community need a reason to vote, look at a person like George Floyd. If the people in your city are not open to police reform, are not open to having a conversation about defunding the police, are not open to issues concerning economic equality, judicial equality, and racial equality, right? If they're scared to say Black Lives Matter, you have the power to put people in those positions who do believe that Black Lives Matter, who do believe in racial equality, economic equality, judicial equality, right? Who see us as human beings. And if the people in your community don't feel that way, vote them out. It's that simple. Just vote them out. We don't have enough time to sit around and hope that people change their mind.
Yeah, but you point out something so important. We have the power, and that is in our vote, and that is with our voice, and that's how we use our voice. I think of where we are right now. People say this is a particular moment, but it is a movement. Not just a moment, it is a movement. Why, in your opinion, was it George Floyd's death? Why was that the chosen mentality for people to say, oh my God, black people are so oppressed in this country? I mean, it is not.
I think it's twofold, Carrie. In so many different encounters between people of color and the police, there simply is no proof of what happened in the interaction. And so what happens is, in a court of law, it tends to lean towards the policeman's point of view, right? In this case, we saw very clearly what happened. I think the other thing is due to the fact that everyone was at home, basically, during this time period in relation to the coronavirus, you couldn't avoid it. Right? It was on every television station, it was on every social media platform. Everywhere you turn, you were constantly hit upside the head with this message. You see in the interaction that the man did nothing to deserve what happened to him.
It's so well said, because if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't worth it. He didn't have to lose his life. I think that you touched on something that a lot of people talk about, and that is now defunding the police. That has been such a huge conversation, but there's so many misconceptions around defunding and dismantling. If you will, educate the audience.
All right, so most people, when they hear the term defund the police, they tend to think of, oh, they're going to take away our police department. Nothing could be further from the point. Defunding the police means that in certain communities, Houston, for example, we had over $1 billion allocated to our police force. Now, what is that money being used for? Some of that money tends to be allocated towards riot shielding, right? Pepper spray, right? That kind of thing. That's only used against the people that fund this budget, right? So why would the people want to supply the police with the means to oppress them. If the police are concerned about the situation in certain communities with a higher crime rate, well, higher crime rates tend to happen in communities where there's not employment opportunities, right? There's not a lot of social services, and people are going to do what they need to do to take care of themselves and their families. When the community has more opportunities for employment, more opportunities for upward mobility, then they tend to be a less of a strain on the government. They tend to have a lower crime rate, and because of that, we'll have less need for the police in those communities.
You are passionate about so many different things in terms of making sure that we are leaders accountable. Talk to me about some of the other projects that you're doing.
Well, right now, obviously, being a part of More Than a Vote is essential. We're dealing with primaries in this country right now, and we just want to educate people. We want to inform people because people are tired, they're angry, they're concerned, and they want information and they want action. And so we want to make sure that we give them the right information and lead them in the right direction. And we thank the people that do not look like us for standing with us right now, but it's very important that people who aren't black be involved, because if black people could have gotten rid of racism, we would have done it hundreds of years ago. And so I'm trying to use my voice and my platform just to let people know that if they feel like I do, there's a number of places they can go to enact change in their community. People need to know about how their city council runs. They need to know that they have the ability to speak when city council meets, to let them know that that's not the way that they feel their city needs to be run. Those are not the places that they feel the money in their community needs to be allocated.
And but even a step further, they can run for office in their local community. They can run for positions. Like, people act like they leave it for somebody else. If you're upset, it's not hard to get on the school board. It's not hard to be a part of the city council. It really isn't. And depending on how small your town is, you can be a mayor. It's the power is with the people, and we need to just know that that's happening.
Absolutely, and it's always been with the people. You know, if you look at Trayvon Martin's mother, Sabrina Fulton, right? She felt that there was a system of racism and a system of oppression that led to her son's death. And so what did she do? She ran for city council, and she was elected to city council. Our own former president, 44, Barack Obama, right, started in the community as an activist, ran for an elected position, became senator, ran for another elected position, became president of the United States. So don't think that you can't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a lot of money. You don't need a lot of power. Your voice is enough to make a difference.
Man, I feel like I need to go out and run for something. You gave me a rousing speech there, sir. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. When I talk to my brothers, I have to ask you, as a black man, how are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I have a very strong relationship with God, so prayer definitely works for me. I have children and grandchildren who are watching me, who are encouraged by what I do, and they're proud of me right now, you know, and that's really what matters, you know. The change starts at home. You know, so as long as you have a support system that believes in what you're doing and supports you in what you're doing, you have everything you need to go out there and fight the good fight. And for those that don't, there's a community of people here to help. So you can go to places like morethanavote.org. There are many different places that will encourage you, inform you, and they will put you with groups of people that feel like you, that are ready to take action. So no one has to go about this alone if they want to do it.
We're stronger together. People have been saying it, but that has much more meaning now that we're in our movement, not just this moment. Bambi, it has been an education, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Keep fighting the good fight.
Keep up the good fight.
Yeah, la.
So our next guest, I have to admit, I'm a fan, but there are so many different people that we could talk to, and I thought it was so imperative that we speak with her. You know her as Molly on the huge, successful show Insecure, HBO's Insecure. She also has a comedy special highlighting her LGBT groups, and she's an amazing podcaster. Let's welcome in Yvonne Algier. You have such a beautiful way of making things funny, giving us our medicine with some candy, right? The humor and the healing. Bring all of that to your space. And right now, as you look across this country and how everyone is so broken and so upset, it's not social injustice, it's the pandemic, it's depression, it's unemployment, the list goes on and on. How are you doing, quite frankly?
You know, I'm rediscovering self in a way that is hard but necessary, that will lead to ultimate joy. I know it sounds like a lot, but no, I think I personally think that God put all of us on a global timeout. Like we just, America hasn't done as good as other people when it comes to timeouts because everyone else is out playing at recess, and we're still in the principal's office hoping and wishing he can come out. But I think that if we settle into the timeout and really learn the lesson that we're supposed to learn from the season, I think we'll emerge better. We'll learn how to play well with others in more ways than one. And so personally for me, I'm taking this time to learn me in a new way. I feel like I'm being ushered into a new season, and I'm getting still, because sometimes the busy confounds the work that we're supposed to actually be doing. We're busy doing other stuff, but we got work that we need to do on the inside. And I'm leaning into it. I'm like, dang, I thought I was gonna be able to rest like everybody else. And these guys like, nah, we got work to do.
You know what? And I think that's what everybody is saying about 2020. It's demanding that we be better. And you said it's a global timeout. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's like everyone sit down, be humble, to quote the great prophet Kendrick Lamar. But seriously, sit down and let's reevaluate something. Let us unearth and shake up the things that we have been trying to hide within ourselves, within our nation. I think America is going through an unraveling right now, a much needed, a much necessary one, and I think all eyes on us, right? There is no, I was on the subway for an hour, so I didn't miss that thing that happened. No, everybody was home. Everybody, was watching when George Floyd died, and everybody, no one could hide it. Everyone was watching when Amy Cooper called the cops. Like, this is a time where it's like, we can't pretend it away. We can't excuse it away. No. It's a global timeout. Sit down, watch, and let's learn. And globally, it's like, hey, we were going business as usual, but it ain't usual no more. Like that's old. Anytime change occurs, it's very uncomfortable. And so right now we're sitting with the uncomfortable. We're getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
The minorities, we've been comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that to me explains just the existence for whatever we want to do, how we break into our careers, how we live our lives, how we find ourselves being first. And that's a lonely road. When you look at, and we talk about this global timeout, everybody had to pay attention to Amy Cooper. Everyone had to pay attention to George Floyd. How is that helping us as a people, as a country?
I think, well, one, we're not minorities. Carrie, you already know it. It's like these labels that they put on us. It's like the same way of saying like black on black violence. Also, there's no white on white violence. It's branding. Yeah, right. It's all branding. You're right. It's like white people kill white people every single day. So no, there is no black on black violence. And if you say black on black violence, well then let's brand white on white violence. Like, I watched Investigation Discovery. Ain't too many of us.
Rick, yo estoy en directo y estoy viendo el evento de fiesta magistral. Yo estoy en directo, Rick, en fiesta magistral viendo el evento. Estoy en directo viendo el evento de fiesta magistral.
And black people make some noise. We rioted. We got out in the street. We started the Black Lives Matter movement. All of those things. And then white people kind of like, let's give us something. And then it's like, is it over? It's like Oscar is so black.
No, yo ya estoy viendo, yo no quiero desperdiciarme ahora. Quiero ver todo.
And it's just like, no. This is not about like a it's like, we might have to amputate the leg a little bit, but it's all right. By amputating the leg, we'll think about it. And so I think that's what's happening now. Like, America is realizing, like, black people aren't just making a little bit. The protests are still out. The conversation's still being had. The change is still being demanded. And I think they're seeing. And no, it's not, because we need systematic change.
What a beautiful way to explore what is happening and describe our country. We might have to amputate the leg, but that's to save the body. That's what's happening right now. That's beautiful. And to that end, I have to ask you this, because the way that we do that, we use our voice. And our voice right now in this world, in this country, is revoked. And everyone talks about voting and how important it is, but I feel like more than ever we understand that it's not just about voting every 4 years for the man in office. It's about your local elections. It's about the mayor. It is about the district attorney, the people who have the power to bring charges against police if police brutality is an issue in your community. If you care about your school district, you can run for the school board. I ask this of you, right?
¿Qué? ¡Hola! 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 ¿Me escucha, Rick? Vamos al evento, güey. Te digo dónde está. Pues está en la pantalla esta. Yo creo que acabo de romper el vehicular. Acabo de romper el lado vehicular. Acabo de... ¿Sabes que ya estaba viendo yo?
Videojuegos favoritos interactúen contigo de alguna manera. Estaría rompiendo la cuarta. Esta es aquella barrera invisible que separa a nuestro mundo del de estos personajes. Por lo general los creadores la respetan y nos dejan como meros espectadores. Sin embargo, hay veces en las que los personajes se dan cuenta de que habitan un mundo imaginario y rompen la cuarta pared para intentar comunicarse con nosotros. Y el día de hoy toca echarle un vistazo a algunos de los casos más increíbles y sorprendentes que se han dado en el vasto mundo de los videojuegos. Sin más por agregar, comencemos. Puesto 8. La franquicia de Matrix nació en los cines con la exitosísima cinta de 1999, pero su historia era tan creativa y se adaptaba tan bien a otras industrias del entretenimiento que muy pronto dio el salto al mundo de la animación, al de los cómics y los videojuegos. Path of Neo
Si ven a todos, no le hago mi clase
gratis. En los zapatos del valeroso Neo mientras revivimos algunas de las escenas más memorables de las películas.
If I'm watching this right now, I want to.
Disparamos a todo lo que se mueve. En cierta parte de nuestra odisea tendremos que medir fuerzas con el misterioso Cera, y aunque todo comienza relativamente normal, con un combate cuerpo a cuerpo, se traslada a unos palos de hierro que flotan sobre una calle en llamas, la cuarta pared se destruye completamente cuando pateamos al que cae en un cierre del mundo real, donde irónicamente están pasando la segunda película justo en la escena de la batalla entre Neo y Cera. Pero espera que eso no es todo, ya que antes de encontrarnos como jefe final, los hermanos Wachowski, que son los responsables de haber creado la franquicia, aparecen para explicarnos que como la última escena de Matrix Revolutions no tiene casi nada de acción, decidieron cambiarla en el juego por un épico combate contra una versión gigantesca de la gente. Puesto 7. Si creciste en los 90 y eras fanático de los beat'em up, entonces estabas de suerte, ya que fue durante esta época dorada que algunos de los mejores exponentes del género dieron la luz. Final Fight, Streets of Rage, Altered Beast, Tortugas Ninjas en el tiempo, Battletoads, Double Jump, los Simpsons o Calabozos y Dragones son tan solo unos cuantos ejemplos. Por supuesto que no podíamos olvidarnos de Golden Axe. Esta mítica saga nos brindó con 4 excelentes beat'em ups transportándonos a una tierra medieval donde la magia, caballeros sin cabeza, esqueletos reanimados, dragones, hombres lagartos, minotauros, caracoles con la suficiente fuerza como para empujar carruajes y hasta mantener
To that end, because you led me directly there.
Lo normal es que al final de nuestras aventuras viéramos a los héroes del mientras celebraban con las personas que habían rescatado, pero el primer juego para arcades quiso probar algo distinto y en el proceso rompió la cuarta pared de forma genial. Quienes premiados con una escena en la que veíamos como
activism,
una
I think the
familia
beauty of
que estaba de lo más tranquilo,
activism is that
disfrutando de
it
un
has
en una
many
sala de
faces, right?
recreativas y era
You're
aterrada
gonna
por los
have
enemigos del
the
pueblo,
people
a
on the
quienes no
front
se les
lines. Like,
ocurría
you
mejor
know what?
idea que saltar de la pantalla
Martin
e
Luther King
invadir el
marched,
mundo
but there were a
real.
lot of
Por
women
suerte
who
para
were in the
todos
homes
nosotros,
like,
los
hey,
héroes
he
aparecían
does. When they
rápidamente
come
y nos
back,
perseguían
this is
muy de
how we
cerca.
support
¿Te
all the
imaginas
people
lo
who are marching
traumático
in the
que
front
debe ser
lines.
que
And
ese
we're gonna
gordo
be here
pelón se
doing
aparezca en
what
la
we know
puerta
to
de
do
tu
best
casa con
here.
su
And you
martillo
know what? Somebody
gigante?
needs to bail them out of jail so that so now we need to be in the community,
Puesto 6.
getting money or whatever it is. So it's like
La saga
everybody
de
has a
Pokémon
position to
siempre
play.
se ha
And so play your
caracterizado por
position at
romper la
shortstop,
cuarta
bro.
pared, y
So
no
whoever
estoy
you
hablando
are
únicamente de
and
los
whatever you do,
videojuegos. En
play
el
your
anime, por
position.
ejemplo,
So
hay un episodio en el que el narrador
because
le
it's like,
pide a Ash
you know
que le
what?
ponga nombre a uno de sus
I'm
monstruos
not
de
the one that's
bolsillo.
building
En
the
otro
videos
blog
on the front line. But you
interrumpe
know
una
what? My
discusión entre
pockets go
Misty
deep.
y el
So I'm gonna put
protagonista
your
para
kids on the
decirles
front
que es
line.
tan
You know,
tarde y
I'm
que
a
deberían de
comedian.
empezar ya el
Black
episodio.
joy is
Incluso
a
tenemos aquel capítulo donde el equipo Rocket League explicaba que era diabólico a la audiencia, pero este es un top de videojuegos y de eso vamos a hablar. Estas aventuras siempre se han caracterizado por esconder batallas secretas muy difíciles. Tenemos a Red en la segunda generación, a Steel of Wally en Rubí y Zafiro, o a Dianta, Caleb y Serena en Pokémon X e Y. Pero ¿acaso sabías que también puedes luchar contra los desarrolladores? En Blanco y Negro, por ejemplo, podríamos batallar contra
beneath
Shigeki
the surface of
uno
what
de
we
los
do, like
diseñadores
Nat
responsables de
said,
haber creado
it's
nada más y nada menos que a
hoop,
Mew. Mientras
right?
que en
The
Ultra Sólido,
hoop
luego de salir
is the
campeones de la
person who's
liga,
gonna be like,
teníamos
hey, let
chance
me
de
call
enfrentarlo a
this
él y
out.
al director del
Either
juego en un
line
épico
racism
combate
in
duro.
terms of
También
what
es posible
racism, in
visitar las
terms
oficinas de Game
of
Freak
ways
dentro
that we
del
can be
universo de los
better, in
videojuegos,
terms
donde
of ways
podemos
that we can
conversar con las
actually be more
versiones digitales de
uplifting
los
to the community
desarrolladores
that
para ver cómo
we don't even,
destrozan la
you may
cuarta
not even
pared con
realize
los
that you're
diálogos.
serving.
Before I
Uno nos
let you
cuenta
go,
que es el artista
talk to me
gráfico
about
y que fue el que empujó a nuestro
the
persona. Otro está muy orgulloso de haber escrito la historia y nos revela que tiene una fascinación con la líder de gimnasio Sabrina.
Yeah,
E incluso tenemos a una miembro del equipo que habla de lo feliz que se siente de poder trabajar en las alturas que tantas horas tuvo de vida. Algo similar ocurre en juegos como Chrono Trigger, Ratchet & Clank o el más reciente Celeste, lo que nos demuestra que existen muchos desarrolladores a los que les encanta dejar un poco de sí mismos en cada una de sus obras.
But at the end of the day, we gotta vote for our family. We gotta vote for our
Ahora que por fin
legacy.
se ha anunciado la fecha de estreno del remake de Final Fantasy VII, que es probablemente el juego que más espero para el próximo año, considero que es buen momento para hablar de esta mítica franquicia de rol. A pesar de que estos títulos narran historias serias, su cuota de rol y en algunas ocasiones los personajes rompen la cuarta pared sin reparo.
Talk about the whole.
En Final Fantasy IV, por ejemplo, podemos descubrir una fortaleza
Not the time to give up.
digitales
This
de los
is not the time to
desarrolladores.
pretend away that we haven't made progress in the past. There's still much more to be done. And you know what? We might have to get to a point where we pass the baton to our children and children. But we still have work to do now. Yeah, that's right.
En Final Fantasy XIII nos dirá que estaba muy preocupado
Molly,
porque
you're not
no descargaríamos y lo dejaríamos
Molly on
abandonado en el
HBO.
mundo digital. Este mismo personaje tiene un ataque especial en el que se estrella contra la pantalla de
And
nuestra
then we
vida
also
Sicilia
have
02.
movies.
En la versión para PlayStation 4, el demente de Kefka aparece
Also, wait,
mirando a la
don't
cámara
let
y
me
hasta
forget
la
your
bóveda como si
hugely
supiera que
successful
habita dentro de un
stand-up comedy special on HBO. I mean, you're doing it all, and I am so grateful. You are truly the dream, not just the American dream, but like around the world. We would all dream.
Las aventuras plataformeras pueden romper la cuarta pared de cuatro en cuatro. Habilidades superadoras de
Yvonne
nos
Ortiz,
agradece
ladies and
por haber
gentlemen,
completado
and nothing but the best and excellent person.
cómo el fontanero ordena las la última escena de Sketch World podemos ver como una de las abejas se despide de nosotros, pero nada para
So Atlanta has been one of the hotbeds in terms of political unrest and social injustice. We've seen so much happen in that city, and we've also seen so much come from that city. One of our very own founding fathers of the civil rights movement that a lot of people don't know right now. Let's use this platform to talk about voting, to talk about racial justice and how things should be done. Atlanta's very own Russ joins us now. Russ, I'm not going to fan out and tell you what are some of my favorite songs were. We're going to get to the topic at hand. So we got to talk about recently you did an interview where you shared your outlook on culture and music. And you also were very candid about the fact that you have a privilege that's necessary for you to get back to the community.
I was like very optimistic in black culture, and I'm benefiting financially off of it. So I feel like if you're a white person financially benefiting off of black culture, you have to put finances back into black culture. It's just that simple. The screenshots with your feelings, it just comes off like fake empathy. It comes off very dismissive, very oh, that sucks for y'all. But anyway, back to what I was saying.
Have you felt that way always, or is it now because of the time where we are in this country?
I've always had the feeling. I think now it's just obviously elevated. It's a new level and there's new, you know, it's to the point now where you can't, first of all, you can't not say anything. Second of all, though, I just think saying something isn't enough anymore. I think, you know, if you have the ability to put money back into a culture that you're financially benefiting from, if you have the ability to, you should.
It's interesting that you talk about it that way. Some people do believe that silence is the best way to go. It's hard to talk, especially if you're writing or communicating culture. People just feel as if they can't talk, they don't want to voice words. How do you find yourself interacting with people when you talk to about social justice?
Well, first of all, picking and choosing whether you want to be silent or not, that's a privilege in and of itself. But no, I mean, you know, I try to just do my best to listen to the black people around I have in my life. So I do my best to not act like I have all the answers for everything, especially in a culture that I'm not from. But you know, that's why when we decided to raise the money for Black Lives Matter organization, you know, when we raised $500,000, we got on the phone with some of the women who started Black Lives Matter. I got on the phone with Tamika Mallory. I was on the phone with Karen Civil, talking with my friends to make sure the money went to like the correct places. You know, people who really need it. It's just about listening. That's all. It's about listening.
For me, it looks very different. It's not necessarily just protesting on the front lines. I think that's great. But what about being an activist in the way in which you have decided to be one? What inspired you? What did it look like? You said you raised money for Black Lives Matter. What did you do? Walk us through everything that you did and how you find yourself in this moment right now.
So for me, you know, it was 3 years ago. I had like a string of festivals, and I decided that I was going to wear T-shirts with a message on them because I figured, what better time to use a platform than in front of, you know, a bunch of people. So one of the T-shirts I wore was, if you want to change the system, you know, speak up, white silence is pro-racism, the whole thing. And it didn't really it kind of got swept under the rug back then. But you know, when all this stuff started happening again, and it's been happening, police brutality against innocent black people, I was like, man, I'm not the biggest artist in the world, and I certainly don't have the most white fans in the world, but I got a good amount of people that I can definitely mobilize and turn into some money, and I know they're down for the cause because it's merch, it's a good thing, and I've always been outspoken anyway, you know, and so how am I going to be in black culture and not be outspoken about racism?
And then I got to ask you this, because you grew up in Atlanta, so that gives you a heads up, depending for some of the people, because you're in the crux of that beautiful black city where there are so many beautiful black leaders, almost so much great music, and things that speak to our culture right now. And we are really, really getting our word out, especially with this platform today, and saying that we must use our voice to vote. Talk to me about what the importance of voting for you in this election.
Yeah, so you know, full transparency, I had never voted before, ever. And because, you know, I was one of those people who was like, my vote doesn't matter, and you know, and I don't know, maybe it's because I was younger, maybe it's because I really thought that, or I don't know, but I just think that it's got to, you know, now this is a bit of a privilege to say it's got to a breaking point for me, because obviously it's been past the breaking point for black people. I think that as a whole, you know, the young people need to get out and vote, because we're the ones that never show up. You know what I mean? We never show up to vote, but you know, we're the future. So it's like, look, we got to go out there and vote, and then whatever happens, but at least we do our part. You got to do your part.
You're very candid in saying that you just decided to vote, and I think there's beautiful irony in the fact that you have your fans saying, because of you, I'm voting. Is there something beautiful about that? But I want to know why now for you. Why do you listen to this? What hit your spirit to say, yes, this is the time to do it?
Honestly, because I think that George Floyd really woke up a lot of people who, including myself, who I was vocal and outspoken about racism. I put it in my lyrics, I put it on t-shirts, I would talk about it in interviews, like, you know, I was vocal about it. But that video, in that moment, I think me along with a lot of other people just kind of was like, all right, like, words are simply not enough anymore. We gotta do something, whether it's raising money, whether it's voting, or all the above. Like, we gotta do something, you know. And I'm ashamed that it took that for me to be like, I need to raise money and I need to vote. You know, it's a shame. And I don't know, I guess it snapped a bunch of people out of it, you know. And even if you were vocal and whatnot, it's time to actually put your money where your mouth is. It's time to go vote. You know, it's time to just stop talking about it and be about it, you know. And it's been time for that, but like I said, you know, I'm ashamed that it took me this long to actually really be about it, but I'm here now.
So Russ, we all know that this is going to be your first time voting. Tell me what that experience is going to be like for you in terms of what you're excited about.
I think, you know what it's going to do for me? It's going to let me know that I'm contributing to something bigger than myself, and I'm actually putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm being about it. Because, you know, for so long, and I know I'm not alone with this, but, you know, standing on the outside and just screaming about this and that, and this should change, and it's like, all right, but did you vote? You know? And so I'm, you know, I know it's gonna feel good to know that I
What's the phone is
of wanting to do your part and contribute. So
Yeah. To whom much is given, much is required, and you will be given.
Chao, chao, decir adiós.